I think you guys both are here somewhere. Just FYI, somewhere.
Ah, yes.
So for those of you who are listening to us, we're gonna go live. I mean, we're live right now. Obviously, we're gonna talk about this, but this was something that I recorded. I learned from Indale how to record better. So I think I'm getting better and better.
You're better.
Thank you. Hey, I learned it from the best.
Oh, I like that lady who got that done.
All right.
That rifle. I mean, uh, can you share?
So clearly, you guys know where this is because you were there. But we're live on Cyber Part of Tigray Media. For those of you who are following us, I've got Danny from Dallas, and I've got Ndade from Denver. So you all know these are the two most outstanding Tagaro fighters who's been fighting all over the country from day one. And I mean it, literally day one. So in all honesty, some people get confused because that's my twin brother right there.
Wait, which one is Mike?
We both bald headed, man.
Actually, all of us are bald headed, for that matter.
I forgot my hat. Sorry.
That's okay. You forgot your TDF hat, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm at home.
You're more professional than that. We know you.
Yeah.
Although a few minutes ago I did see your Tigray flag behind you, but now it's not there. There we go.
Yes, sir.
There it is. So, all right. We're going to be very casual tonight, but there are some things that I'll be talking about. So prepare yourself that you may not like everything that I'm going to have to say tonight. Because we've been fighting for 9 months. And along the way, we got to know each other very well. We, the three of us here. And I mean it when I say so many people often confuse Danny and I. Who is Danny? Who's Mike? It actually is pretty incredible. But on a serious note, the fighting goes on still in Tigray and Afar and in the Amhara region. And some people are asking why TDF is invading Amhara region and Afar region. And I think my short answer for that, of course, is that is Ethiopia, and Tigray is part of Ethiopia as we speak. And they are out there eliminating the number one enemy of Tigray, who did so much disgrace to destroy Tigray. Killed so many innocent people, looted every infrastructure, stole everything with the invading forces of Eritrea, with the invading forces of Ethiopia, with the invading force of Amhara, and with the invading force of Fana, which is also another segment of the Amhara. Then the area where some of you may not like what I have to say is, what was the Tigray leadership doing in preparation to defend the people of Tigray and the region of Tigray? Forget about the rules of law, because when a nation of 120, 110, whatever million you want to call it, was continuously preparing to attack you and was dancing around your number one enemy, Eritrea, what was the Tigray leadership doing? I know many of you are not going to like what I have to say. So from media perspective, KUTO is also Ndale, you know more than anybody, and we'll get to the discussion. You've been in the media world over 20 years. I don't know if you started when you were 2 or 12. 20 years is a long time. So, you know, we have to have a serious, hard discussion, an honest one. We can't say, oh, it's not the right time. You know, in Tigray, they say, like, no, we don't need to be divided. We are united. We want to continue unity. Okay, so I want you to see what I've got on my neck. Okay, we've been for 9 months in the diaspora. We've been fighting for Tigray and for our people in Tigray. You cannot take that away from us. The unity of Tagara in the diaspora is amazing. It's the machine that we built, but it is easy to destroy it if a leadership fails. So yes, it's not the right time to criticize, but it's the right time to be honest, to have an honest discussion. Why we ended up in this mess in the first place in Tigray. What was the Tigray leadership doing when the various Tigrayans who were professors, various educators from various background, including various Tigrayan political party that stood as a nationalist as Tigray first, like Mahari. He was clearly voicing his concern prior to the Tigray election last year. He knew the danger was coming. The Tigray people knew the danger was coming. So if you want to criticize me, if you're just going to say, oh, Mike, you're too harsh now because it's not the right time. No, there's no wrong time to be honest. And you know what? I've never publicly mentioned anything about particular media. But let's be honest. We put tens of thousands of dollars to TMH. For TMH, it's time to be a media outlet to allow TPLF, Sarsai Wayane, Baitona to have equal opportunity for their interviews. So when you bring people to the media, be fair and balanced. You cannot be pro TPLF and disregard the other folks. The same is true when you bring like a few generals to the media. Be honest. What about the other generals that are fighting on the front line? They sign off their lives for Tigray and for Tagaro. Who's speaking up for them? You're going to selectively pick a few generals, the head of the TPLF, and disregard the rest of Tagaro fighting for Tigray? Come on. So I'm starting off with a really concerned, but also I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated the way our media, our Tagaro media is operating. We need to understand that we cannot, as a media, we cannot pick and choose a side. I'm proud, of TPLF, the success they have brought to Tigray, to Ethiopia. But I'm also equally frustrated the failure in leadership in Tigray to prepare to defend and protect the people of Tigray and the region of Tigray. We had the weapon, we had the intelligence, we had everything we need to know from the Tigray people. What failed with the leadership to organize and mobilize the people of Tigray. If we had 100,000, 150,000 troops ready in Tigray, Eritrea, Ethiopia will never mess with us. Isaias didn't show up to Adwa, Aksum, Shira, and the various places where he stole spoon and everything. He knew that we had 9,000 troops in Tigray. 7 to 8 million people were ready to defend the territory of Tigray. So if I am wrong, comment it. Post your comment, because this is my intro. I'm starting off with a really frustrating reaction. And I'm not going to turn and twist like any of the viewers or my brothers from Dallas and from Denver. So that is my personal feeling. That's my personal opinion. And it's more than that. I'm hurt. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. So many of my sisters and brothers were massacred. 700 people were pulled out of Aksum and executed to protect Mariam Zion, the people in my cadre. So many of the young girls who were raped by Eritrean troops. And so when Eritreans say, don't call us Shabia, what are you? You're a baby killer. You're a rapist. You're a thief. I don't mean the Eritrean people. I'm talking about the military that came from Eritrea. Let me be very clear. I'm not talking the Amhara people in general. I'm talking the Amhara militia, the Fana, the federal troops who betray the country and sold their soul for a dictator Abiy Ahmed and went along with the order in Tigray and allowed the massacre to happen in Tigray and dance around with Isaias Afwerki, who is the #1 enemy of Tigray. So you can't tell me that, sit in Makana today as a leadership of Tigray and say, no, we heard that already 9 months ago. We heard that about a year ago. We cannot be fooled. Okay? And those of you in the diaspora who you are sneaking behind and trying to figure out who's saying what and doing what, wake up. You serve your country. If you're part of TPLF, you fought hard for your country. Speak up and stand up for your people. Don't sell your soul for money. Die for Tigray. Fight for Tigray. Die as a hero, not as a coward. If you really believe in Tigray, if you really believe in your people, fight for your people. Don't be a coward. Don't be like General Samora and the others who sold Tigray. Because you know what? Dying a coward is not the same as dying as a hero. So if you really want to be known for the right thing, that you die for Tigray, when people say, hey, what are you doing headed to Sudan or other part of the world that I headed out there? I wasn't thinking about me. I was thinking about every woman and men from Tagaru who escaped the atrocity in Hamora and Maikadra and various areas of Tigray, because the government of Ethiopia failed to protect them, rather ordered for Tagaru based on ethnics to be executed in the 21st century. And for those of you who are complaining, what did America do to us? You know what? When we protested in the street of Washington, D.C. in front of the State Department, America actually heard us. The State Department sent representative. I was there multiple times. They sent their representative. They accepted our demand letters to stop the drones from the United Arab Emirates, and America did that. So for TPLF to run the show on the ground, they need to listen to every Tigrayans, not to their partner Amhara they're lined up with, and they turn around the very people they fed, they turn around and bit their hand, but with their fellow Tigrayans. Whether you like me or not, we have to put Tigray first. We have to put the people of Tigray second. Then political parties come third. Whether you be TPLF, you be Baitona, or Sarsai Wayane, that's totally fine with me. With that, Danny, welcome to Cyber Power of Tigray. I don't usually start off with this kind of rant on my show, but I had to say something because I had to get some things out of my chest. It's been like bugging me ever since I returned from Sudan. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of being emotionally hurt. We have to stand together. We have to continue the fight. So earlier today, you and I had the opportunity to have a discussion, a very productive discussion with the Houston community, with the Dallas community, with SJT Chairman Dr. Taka, and various highly intelligent Tagaru from within the United States, which is discussing to have a worldwide protest on September 8th against the Turkey sales of drones to Ethiopia. So if you don't mind me, I'm going to hand off the baton to you. I would like you to tell our audience what the agenda is on September 8th, why we chose Houston, and then I'm going to come back to Indale, KT on Denver, and then we'll kind of go make a discussion. But I had more things that we're going to talk about, but I'm going to cool off a little bit. I'm going to let you go to talk about the September 8th protest.
Well, my twin brother, Mike, thanks for having me. I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, for all that you do for Tigray. Your dedication is just beyond measure. I see you because you and I travel pretty much every protest. At one point, I think we were averaging 4 cities in 10 days. And here, my brother Ndala as well, and many of our TDF crew members, they travel with us. So I just want to say thank you, first of all. So, in short, yeah, we did have a very productive meeting earlier today. This meeting is about the protest that we're having, a global protest that's happening on September 8th. This is against the drones that Turkey is supplying to Abiy Ahmed Ali. So we're having this protest simultaneously, just everywhere in the world, pretty much. I think Ottawa's having one, Los Angeles, Washington D.C., uh, Houston, Texas, of course, and then several other cities. The reason we picked Houston for Mike and I, and hopefully in Dallas you can join us as well, is because there's a consulate office in Houston, Texas, as well as the largest Turkish businesses in the United States are located in Houston, Texas. That's including Shell. So we picked a city to do our protest there. So the Houston community is very receptive. We have communities from Austin, Texas, San Antonio, as well as Oklahoma City that are going to join us in this protest. We hope to be a huge one, a big one, and the reason we're doing it is just to expose the Turkish government that they cannot do that. They cannot supply Abiy Ahmed with drones. So, Mike, that's all I have to say about today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Of course, again, for those of you who might not be familiar with Danny, he's been in every major protest across the United States. In fact, we travel together. We share hotel rooms together. We share like rental cars together. We've done so many things together. And in fact, I was not joking at the beginning when I say people often got confused and they were trying to figure out who's Mike, who's Danny. And Indale has been there with us as well. So from Indale, we had the opportunity to learn so many media related, like recording, audiography, videography, the background that you see in his studio. He, brought us over many times. I actually broadcasted several shows from that space that you see were in Indale. So Indale, not much to say, obviously, but listen, I've got one person already not happy with me, and Quinn LH, I apologize, but I will not back down to what I say. Once again, as a reporter yourself, why do we have TMH selectively airing a few generals and primarily to PLF, but not giving the others an opportunity? And why do we have failure in the first place for Tigray to go through these horrendous atrocities that we have seen and we have been protesting about? And why is it that for some people, it is very hard to hear the truth on the ground, to hear that an open discussion, an honest discussion is not a divisive or division among us. It's a painful thing to see, but at the same time, if we don't talk about it, if we don't have an honest discussion, isn't that what got us here in the first place?
First of all, I'd like to say hi to everyone, to your viewers, to our viewers, and Danny, of course, Mikey. And I wanted to say thank you for inviting me. And I will echo what Danny says, and I appreciate Michael. I know I never met you in the past, but I know Danny for many, many years since he was a young man, and he's still a young man.
Still young, buddy.
Energetic, Michael. But I'm so proud of to meet you. I think I met you in New York for first time, when you're doing what you do. And then same thing, me. And I was so delighted to get to know you. Having
Thank
said
you.
that, and I can see how passionate you are, and I'm so grateful that you put out the language to for some of us who can understand and really relate to the cause, and so we can contribute. Because as you say, the media outlets, most of them, almost 75% of our Tagaru media outlets is more in Tigrinya. So for some of us who are not comprehending, kind of left out. So, and I will always want to meet you, but finally I met you in person. So Michael, I don't have my hat, but my hat is off to you.
Thank you.
Danny, of course, same thing, and I appreciate for what you do, what you have done in the past. I know you, Michael, kind of in the front. I mean, a lot of our community know him, and Danny. You know, a lot of people don't know what you do in the front of the line, but I always see you and observe you, including with others. And since you are here, I'm giving you the compliments. But
Thank
there's
you.
a lot of our brothers and sisters do the same thing, so we do appreciate them as well. To come up with the serious note that Michael just kind of triggered, uh, I think sometimes within our community, not just in general, it is not having a constructive criticism is always important. Just like our mom and dad, they love us and they cherish us, but they also guide us in disciplines. So, which is that doesn't mean they don't love us or they don't care about us. So, and mom and dad is always care and love us, and they discipline us. So, in order to discipline us, we be a better citizen, a better kid, and what have you. So, within our community, same way, Michael Reyes and others, including me or anyone, can criticize constructively, but at the same time, that criticism has to be improved. So, for with the struggle or for any better information to our community or to inform others who are not part of our community, who can be a tool to help us. I can, Michael just mentioned even one of the greatest country in the world, United States. I mean, and others. So we have to make sure that if we unite and be in the same in the group voice, and they will come to us. But if we kind of spread out and do whatever we have to do in a different way, and then they're not really be on our toes. So our voice has been very loud for the past 9 months. So I think we can see not only does this international community, I mean, the average citizen of the country also know what our voice is. So, uh, I'm a professional in media, so I will not put myself to kind of criticize or applaud any other media outlets. But I do like to share my knowledge or kind of put an idea to some that Michael would just touch on. I know there's so many media outlets, and I know TMH has been and the front line. I know they may have an editorial board or some of the media outlets they do. I think it's not too late for all of us to share our thoughts and our experience to see if the media outlet itself is willing to what Michael's and others who criticize or even support. So because the media shapes the community and the community shapes the media so as well. It goes both ways. When we provide information, the listeners also give us a feedback. That feedback it gives the media outlets to be more even energetic. So I think TMH is the only one so far in our community that does, but at the same time they kind of shorthanded in the some um, outlets that they need to provide. But I think this needs a deeper conversation, including, I don't know if Michael, we should have someone from their group to come and say, hey, they can discuss with us also, So I think it will be, and then also the community can participate. But in the meantime, for the past 9 months, average group people are covering the events and energetically. So I think the media outlets, what they're doing. I like to get to the top because I like to interview them to see what's going on. I think that's the way to go. Otherwise, we can just generalize, and all of us we can discuss, without compromising of the unity and the what we do to as a whole, as a Tagaro.
And I appreciate that, and I'm willing to be corrected at any time. Let me just be clear though. All the Tagar media outlet, we have decided to not yet ask for donation, accept money, and pay ourselves. We have been the media outlet to our best of ability by volunteering. Just the same way, Danny, when you travel all over the country, you're not having somebody sponsor for your hotel, for your car rental, for your general daily expenses. You have taken tremendous amount of time from your job, your work, to do this work for Tigray. So, when I talk about, I think, like, until today, I have never mentioned a media by its name. And the reason I mentioned TMH today is it's been going on for 9 months, and I've been closely pay attention very well. And I know the folks that are working very hard at TMH. They're actually, I consider them my friends. But again, we have been, communicating with our communities to ensure that they get the donation, they get the funding to run as a media, to be fair and balanced, because the Amhara mass media, the Amhara outlet, is being getting funding by the Ethiopian government, and they have outsourced Tagar media because we didn't have Tagar media prepared and ready to go for this fight. So what we decided was, if we strengthen in TMH will become the ears and the eyes of Tagaro internationally. But you cannot tell me that while you receive like hundreds of thousands of dollars of donation, that you can't put someone on the ground in Sudan to air and tell the story of the refugees, 70,000 Tagaro who are suffering. This is, when I went there, I'm hearing them. They're asking me, do you know what happened to TMH? How come they can't come here and tell the story to the world what's happening to us? So again, I'm doubling down because there's a problem that needs to be fixed. For instance, if you are collecting money to do the job, you can't tell me that you couldn't have one reporter that can report once a week in English, just like what you say in Dali, for people like yourself and many other Tagaru who were born in the diaspora or in Addis Ababa, and they don't understand Tigrinya, and they don't understand the politics of what's happening in Tigray, why Ethiopia and Eritrea is massacring our people, what the root causes are. Could you imagine if I was not born in Tigray, that I would not have the opportunity to understand the politics behind it, the dirty politics from Isaias Afwerki and from the elites in the Amhara region in Ethiopia? Could you imagine? So I feel lucky and blessed. And there's more that I can talk about. But with the media situation, it is obviously, it's not too late. But for everybody out there who follows like this media, we need to, the same is true. I'm happy Tigray TV is live. It's amazing how much information actually we're all of a sudden gaining from Tigray TV. So for those of you who are not following Tigray TV, I would urge you to do so, please. So with that, the fight goes on. Every fighter on the ground is fighting for Tigray. We know when it comes defending Tigray, we've never been shorthanded from Tagaru not willing to fight or die for Tigray. But when we do so, we must respect the people who are fighting to defend Tigray. We cannot go, in Tigray now there's this thing say, which means, you clean yourself. Shortly after that, you dump yourself right into the mud. We can't just allow these kind of things to happen. For those who are thinking, oh, we have our wealth in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, so therefore we cannot split from Ethiopia. Or like those who are thinking like, oh, we have to rule Ethiopia for briefly, whatever that means. No, remove yourself from Ethiopia. There is no Ethiopia. We don't care about Ethiopia. We care about Tigray, about Togaru. There no more Ethiopia. Like Danny, help me out. Where am I wrong here?
So listen, man. Let's not forget today happens to be day 303. Okay, of this genocide on our people. So, with respect to what you said, Mike, all of you media, Tigray media, have done a wonderful job exposing, this genociders, Abiy, Isaias, Amhara militia, all of those. So kudos to you guys. I'm obviously not an expert in this, but I hear your frustration, and I'm so glad you're talking about it. It's that's how we can fix things. And Dali had suggested maybe even inviting people from other media and just to have that conversation. And it can easily be fixed, but don't feel bad talking about things like that because you're frustrated, and why not? This is how we can fix it. But keep fighting. You're doing an amazing job, both of you, and all our other medias as far as exposing this genociders. Thanks,
And
Mike.
absolutely. And you are 100% correct on that. I commend TMH how much they have exposed the atrocities, the devil in Eritrea, the devil in Ethiopia, the devils in Amhara region. So I am all with that. I just want to make sure that what's happening, because we know TDF is headed to victory. We are going to
Right.
lose more lives, of course, along the way, right? But at the same time, we have to stop saying, oh, this is not the right time. When is the right time? You know what happened last time when we were fighting Mangustu? They were saying it's not the right time when Shabia was blocking our people from crossing into Sudan and letting them die. They were saying, oh, good, like it's Guzio Equanin. It's not the right time because we don't want to fight Shabia, and then we never will, defeat like Mangustu. And then when it was the right time, when TPLF switched into EPRDF and they took over Ethiopia, and it was the right time. Then they told the military that serve proudly, go home, do your farm, get some education, do what you have to do. And I can go on and on and on. So what I'm worried about is we cannot repeat that again. So today, the fight is still on. We have a long ways to go. But at the same time, we are actually not far away from marching into Arat Kilo. We're not far away. Within the next week to week and a half, you guys will see what's going to happen, what TDF is going to do to the Amhara region. You guys going to see. I wish I can reveal some of the stuff that I know publicly, but you will see what's going to happen to the Gondar region. Right now, as we speak to you guys, our Eritrean troops are actually in what? Dansha. They're like deep into they got folks within the Eritrean group in Gondar, because Isaias Afwerki knows that his survival right now is to prolong this war.
Mhm.
And people are wondering why we haven't been talking about Eritrea. Do you know these last 4 or 5 days, the heaviest fighting actually is taking place on the outskirts of Hurmara? Do you know that Eritrea actually is right now, as we speak, trying to destroy 2 bridges? I can no longer hold these and just pretend things are going normal. Isaias Afwerki's army are actually determined to destroy 2 main bridges that go from Hurmara to Shire, because he knows he's on the verge of defeat. He's massively redeployed troops to Badame. About a week ago, they left Badame. He was scrambling. He tried to push through Zalambasa, through other part of Tigray. And when he realized that he was not able to get anywhere, he rerouted his troops, entered them through Hamora again, as they've been there already. And to make it all the way to Dansha and to Gondar, he's playing a survival game. TDF right now, certain things they're not actually letting out publicly, but most of the heavy fighting right now, people see like, oh, Dese, oh, Afar, oh, so just in the last like day and a half, just for the sake of the discussion here, for you guys and the rest of the listeners to see, I'm going to show you like a quick map. So we all know the heavy fighting that have been taking place in Debar. So portion of our military had to be pulled and sent back to fight the invading force of Eritrea in Dansha. Imagine, in the last 24 hours, we know that our troops, TDF, bypassed Debark and surrendered Debat. So what does that tell you? And going there from Debat is 50 kilometer. 50 kilometer, okay? Within a few more days, TDF actually would be roughly within about 30 kilometer to Gwandar. And within 30 kilometer radius, for the listeners to understand, TDF heavier weapons would actually reach to the city of Gwandar if they need to do heavy attacking. And if Abiy Ahmed thinks bringing drones from Turkey is going to save him, he is wrong. Because you know what? TDF is ready. The moment a single drone is about to drop a bomb on them, they're going to unleash the heaviest weapon that you've never seen. Ndale, I'll let you jump in because you probably from the map, you might understand it more than I do, the region that I'm showing here.
Yeah.
So that's Debark right there. So right now there's heavy fighting like in Dansha, which actually, it's shocking for many people that the fact that Eritreans enter there.
Can you change it to instead of satellite to so we can do like map so that we that's be better because the screen is kind of for our viewers can see better. Thank you.
Little blurry.
Yeah, it just you can distinguish the spot.
Gotcha. So there we go. So anyway, this is what I was talking about. So I don't know if you can see it here, but here, obviously
we can see it.
Here's Gwandar. Here's Debark, where they've been fighting for a while. And now what TDF did is they bypassed Debark and they surrendered Debat. From Debat to Gwandar, as I was describing it, it's within 50 kilometer.
Yeah.
And then down here, we all know they bypassing Debre Tabor to cut off into Warata, which will cut off Bahredar and Gwandar.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have these massive forces, that's supposed to be the Republican Guard, as you guys saw in the last day and a half or two, losing to TDF, we should not be doubting what our TDF is capable and will be doing in the next few weeks to capture the most major city in the Amhara region, which is Gwandar and Bahredar. Once Gwandar and Bahredar is captured, what's left, Ndale?
I think that's a strategy point because the second largest Air Force base is in Bahardar after Debre Zeit. Ethiopia have only 3 major Air Force bases. So that's another blow to Abiy because if you lose one of his base, that's it. So, but they have a temporary base in Humara, which is not, like as of Debre Zeit or it doesn't have no bunker to survive. So I think that's a blow if Bahardar falls on TDF. So the major thing they can conquer is the Air Force base, and so that's another blow to Abiy. Not only just with the defeat with TDF, but internationally, for him credibility in terms of to have a strong army. But at the same time, I think what you should show us on the map, to be exact, with this bad weather, with 70 kilometer or 73 to be exact, to enter Gondar. After that, it'd be easier to cut off Humara. Even if they start striking in Humara, they cannot come back because of they will surround them. But the other notes, the weather kind of play an advantage for TDF because they're doing the groundwork. And Abiy being disabled because he cannot even use his previous drone because of the bad weather. As drones have a less visible on satellite to communication. So, of course, the international we call it a spy, military spies. They do monitor those kind of communications and drones or any other sortie. They call it sortie when they fly over there. So this is the winter time in Ethiopia. So I think TDF has a great advantage on to maneuver on the ground as we speak. So when the winter just disperse, hopefully the whole TDF can conquer the Amhara region, and possibly they can march to Addis. So, but that's remain to see without any other help. So I think military speaking, some of they can advise, they can tell us, but I'm talking about within the technology and for the satellite communication that for the Abiy trying to take advantage using the local communication in order for him to use a drone. But currently the weather is not friendly to that cause, and that's what we're hearing in terms of from for those who are doing a military information gathering. We call them, of course, the military spy satellites and others.
Thank you, Dali. We lost your face for a second here, so I'm going to switch while you fix that to Danny. So, Danny, I switched from the Amhara region to now Afar. What Ndala was talking about, by the way, there are actually 50 kilometers from Gondar, not 70. So big difference there. Within 20 more kilometers, within 30 kilometers, they will be, within easy reach of Gondar, which may be any day now. I switched back to some. Afar, Samara is the airport. Also, that's another area. TDF is fully capable and aware that if Abiy Ahmed, as he planned, will have drones take off from this airport that I'm showing you guys in Afar, they're already, I believe about 3 days ago, they already hit some of the infrastructure within the airport. So they're actually a lot closer to that airport than most have thought. And we have very small, actually specialized forces in the Afar region. But what's tremendous is the Afar movement is going so well that Afar themselves are rising, because about 5 days ago, Abiy Ahmed decided to bomb civilians in the Afar region. That triggered for the Afar community to rise up. So now we have the Afar community fighting with us. Of course, then we'll go back to where we were to Gondar. You have, well, before I go to Gondar, let's just stay here. So Danny, help me out here demographically. So they are marching past Waldia. They're headed to Desse, but they're actually, for the first time, they're actually going several other routes. So besides through Waldia, they're actually coming. TDF is coming through from the outskirt, which is past B11, which is a highway that comes from Afar, connects to A1 highway, and Shifra is like kind of some of the smaller towns, but the complicity of corner certain things. Kambocha is an area where they're coming through TDF right now. So when they come to Kambocha, then they're like within reach of Desse. So what you now have is Desse is not just been fought from the south of Mursa, south of Waldia, but also they're coming through Kamboja. So what does that tell you? The strength of TDF and the weakness of the Prosperity Party, or I call them the Dirty Party. That's for Danny.
Yeah. So first of all, I think what TDF is doing is not invading regions, not invading uh, cities. What they're doing is liberating the cities. Let's not forget, we have no access still to Tigray as far as humanitarian access. No telecommunication. There is still complete blockout of several things, banking, those things. So we're in the complete darkness still. Uh, so what TDF is doing is liberating the cities, but at the same time, of course, they're going straight to Abiy Ahmed, and Abiy knows this war is over. Well, will be over soon. So I really think this is, I mean, I don't want to predict something without, I'm not.
Come on, predict it. Come on. We like
But yeah,
predictions.
that's it is coming soon.
Right?
But whenever I think of what TDF is going to do, then you turn around, they're doing something else. So I just hope they go and liberate the cities, the big cities, what you mentioned, Gondar, Bahardar, and then Destia. Then from there, it's Arat Kilo. So the great thing about this, Kamant is with us. So is Ago, Afar, Somalia, just name it. And of course, the biggest one, the Oromo Liberation Front. I think it's just we'll finish this job soon, and I hope it's going to be soon, so our people can be, get the humanitarian access they need, the medication they need, and then those things. And I hope to talk to my family as well in Tigray soon.
Yes, sir. We all do. So on that topic, and Dali, I'm going to switch it back to you. Kombucha. The reason TDF actually went around and they're after Kombucha before they get into Dese is for two reasons. One, of course, it's easier to attack Dese from 2-3 different fronts. But at the same time, Kombucha has an airport, air base. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? The strength, the understanding of TDF. So for the Togaru and the diaspora, the reason I don't usually do often like a like geography lesson or like showing the maps and everything, but this is very critical. What I'm pointing out is where the targets are for us for TDF in the diaspora, TDF on the ground, for us to communicate. So when we do this, I want you guys to share to everybody that you know. So our TDF on the ground understands this. We understand this. So when they go to Afar, they're after the airport. When they go to Kamboja, they're after the airport. When they go to Bahredar, they're after the airport. Gondar. So I want to make sure the viewers understand this. So I think we're having like a video glitches with you and Dale. So
Yeah, I'll continue.
okay. So if you can fix your camera for us. Here we go. So kind of like give us like an understanding of like why TDF all of a sudden this past week or so are heavily targeting the main airports within the Amhara and the Afar region.
This is according to some of the folks that we spoke to, the internet, this is winter, of course, Kramti in Ethiopia. So the advantage is to conquer or to cripple or even to damage those kind of runway strips. It would be an advantage for TDF because 90% of the TDF's military movement is in the ground. So any kind of obstacle and air defense from the Abiy, if he have one. So I think the runway should be at least secured, or at least it will be in the control of TDF. Perhaps not to be destroyed because it can be used in the future. But because the weather is against Abiy. So the advantage, and then the other way is the military strategy. Now the goal of TDF is to conquer Bahadar, is like I said earlier, and according to what we hear, is to conquer the Air Force base. Period. And then so after that, it will be easy to to kind of to secure other military depots, and then hopefully after that, the second phase it would be to open up a border between Tigray and Sudan border. So that's the main goal. So, but right now, I think what we hear, and also because there's a forefront to circle Desi and others. Even if they move from Dubark, and like you said, that you just mentioned, so they taken the advantage of the strengths of the TDF as we speak, even the weakness of the Amhara, the militias, and what have you. I mean, they're not in the to defeat. So I think the marching on the ground, it has an advantage. So in case when they within a week or 2 weeks after, so they want that base to be secured when the weather become friendly to Abiy, so it cannot be used even with the small Apache, or I mean Russian-made helicopters attackers. So securing the air strips is very vital for TDF, since they are launching their offense on the ground as we speak. So they do have this, a mechanism to defend, but they don't have any kind of as we speak an air to air attack. So that's why they wanted to secure or to launch in an expedite way before the winter disappears, securing those air base, including an Afar region. I don't know if you knew there's an attack, and also with Abiy to blame TDF. So they wanted to apprise the Afar region, because Abiy wanted to mobilize his run military. But as far as we know, as far as the solid pictures showing, I don't want to say some of the things that, but not right now on our media here. But the tense, the securing the Air Force bases, that's what the main goal for TDF, and that's why they're going after to Gondar, which is to go to Bahadar and to secure the Air Force base. Period.
Well, luckily, the Afar people know better. Unlike the Fort Alabash, happens to be the only one that follows the Amhara mass media and believes on the lies of the media of the Amhara and falls for it. Sadly, they're now actually mobilizing through churches throughout the Amhara region to bring as many people as they can to fight the front line. But I call that the free delivery of weapons for TDF, because these are ill-trained fighters who would come, and before they know it, they're either shot by TDF, captured. In the process, we have one of the most sophisticated and most westernized weapon from the Republican Guard. So those of you who saw the weapons TDF just captured in the last day or two, who would have thought all these weapons that we actually don't have to import or waste our money on, that we can actually just capture from the Republican Guard. So for those of you who may not understand what the Republican Guard is the most sophisticated, most highly trained military within Ethiopia that's supposed to protect Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and they're supposed to be the most elite. The problem, by the way, is he dismantled the original Republican Guard that were with so many years of experience. He reorganized and retrained new ones in the last 2.5 years. And it shows you the result between the experience within TDF leadership and his idea. Had he continued how he came to Tigray, had he not attacked civilians in Tigray and looted, do you know that we would have been actually, easily and without realizing that defeated, that in a way the stupidity of Isaias Afwerki and Abiy Ahmed is actually end up giving us the best gift for all Tagaru, not just in Tigray, but throughout the world to come together. In Dale, I remember it feels like I've known you for 9 years, but I only known you for 9 months. In the 9 month, you shifted 100%. If there was a percentage over 100, I would give you more. But when the people say 110%, by the way, when they do math, it's only 100%. So for people who say 110 or 150%, there's no such thing. You can only get to 100%. So you shifted 100% to being number one to Tigray on your radio station. We know what it is like to be criticized because you get it on a regular basis. I know you don't care about that, but how, explain to the many young Tagaru. The purpose of this show is to educate our young Tagaru to not be distracted and discouraged when the enemy falsifies and shares false propaganda and hatred toward our people in Tigray and all of us in the diaspora. So my question for you is, firsthand from being a reporter for 20 years, being a host for a radio station, that you completely remove yourself from Ethiopia and focus on Tigray genocide. Every documentary that you have put together and on your radio station, you play Tigrinya 24/7. And from all the criticism that you get, but you get all the love from us, of course, but you are old enough to understand criticism, to put up with it. But to the young Tagaru, help them to understand what they need to do when there is negativity, when there's criticism. How do we prepare them to fight smartly, not physically?
That's true. I mean, it is a psychology game. You know, picture tells 1,000 words. So music and sports brings people together. Pretty much, we'll say that in the media world. So I think everything is in the mind. Everybody's talking about negative things about Tagaru. Every media you say in YouTube you see, and Tigrinya speaking did this, or Oromo speaking people did that in back home in Ethiopian media. And then when you come to the diaspora, everybody's bashing about, for the past 27 years, Wayani did this and blah, 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 even in Amharic or any other language. They've been bashing on us for many years, and they still call us as we're part of Ethiopia. And then the thing that kind of triggered me, I said, when Abiy went after in Tigray, with Eritrea and others, and with bringing all this people. How can he scare to bring all this and trying to go after in Tigray? I say this must be like huge. He knew about TDF. He knew about TPLF. So that's what. And I said, well, you know what? He bragged on the media. So I said, hey, of course I want to play. All I can do is just play the music, because there's a lot of his supporters around and where I live. So it did work. It brings a lot of trigger. Personally, I'm not personally physically attacked, but in other ways, so which is I don't mind. But it did work. So for the young people, you just play a psychology mind. As you know, a lot of young people, our brothers and sisters, Tagaru, they use the Twitters, they use Facebook, they use all kind of means to trigger others. So everybody who knows what they're doing and what any tools they use, you can trigger to your advantage, and that's what I did. And then, but in the meantime, playing that music around where I live is it shows to our Tagaru families and Tagaru people, listeners, to kind of keep them happy and to keep the spirit up. Just to give them a reminder they're not being forgotten. So they listening to music so they can feel more calm. And so until they communicate with their family, their loved ones back home in Tigray. And for those who hate Tigrayan people, and is also another torture. They listen and okay, So it goes both ways. So that's what I come up with. But in the meantime, I will do anything peacefully to remind that the Tagaro people are the peaceful people, but at the same time, you can't just run over them. You can't just go say, you can't bash and then you can't just shove them off. So it did show and how they surprised us. I mean, Danny was saying they say he don't want to predict because the TDF they can do anything overnight and then you don't know. So I can believe what Danny was saying. So we just sit and wait. But the only thing the international community, and then, like I said, America and others, they have a very sophisticated following the world. They record the whole world, what's going on in each country. I mean, you cannot underestimate what America does. I mean, just like me and you, we're in this Facebook or YouTube or anything like that we do together, they can just sit and monitor every country for every piece what they do. And then if they want it, they can pull it out and look at it. So that's what happened. And Abiy got caught in the dirty hand. And now they still monitoring the Eritrea at the same time, like you say, when they maneuver around. So we all use our technology to our advantage. So when you look at it, mine a little bit of this much, when you see America in a bigger scale, they have the whole information. So they cannot hide. They cannot disappear. They cannot hide the information. And to just to address you, the other note when we started the conversation about TMH, this is what we need to do, because the TMH is a great tool to disseminate like we do. I mean, we just do it, play music, Tigray music, because that's like a psychology game. But TDF and TMH have a bigger scale to mobilize our community, because what TDF doing on the ground, I'm not talking about the TDF back in Tigray, I'm talking about TDF in diaspora. So I think we should play hand in hand and expose in any way we can to utilize the technology in any medium, not on the radio like I'm doing, but in any way for the next 3 or 4 months, so we can inform and educate for those who are not really sure what's going on in Tigray. I mean, there's still the world still don't know what's going on, even if they know a little bit. Of course, the international community kind of switches face to Kabul in what United States just withdraw their military today. There's the last day, so the world is focusing to that. So we need to come up and bring the awareness, like like you said earlier, with the young people, your young generation, what they've been doing. I think we should need to do this more often because of the world kind of turned its face to Kabul and America and what have you. So they kind of forgot us in the way, in Tigray and Burma and in some of the South America areas. So I think we need to push. I remember, Mike, you just said earlier, America was listening to us when we come up with a voice and demonstrating. So we need to continue to do so for the next, because today's 300 days. This massacre was started. Can you believe it? After 65 days, it's going to be a year. It's horrible, and we still don't have no access for humanitarian access. We still don't have no basic communication, basic human needs. But this is not because of natural disaster. This is made. So they still sabotaging our people. The central government, and then they say the TDF did this and did that and what have you. But they can't blame for whatever they've done. So the international community already know. So our struggle on TDF for the diaspora, we need to pursue on a strong note and to continue our voice. So March 8th, like you say, Danny earlier, we do it nationwide, and at least we need to elaborate some of the future protests coming up. I don't know if Michael, if you have any data for that to share with our community. But I think we need to be more aggressive on that because it did work. It did pay off in the past. We need to do the same way. But on my part, I'm just doing a little things. Like you said, it's not a big things to what I do, but as a group, what we do is what the one is very important, and I'm so grateful to have time with you guys and do what we have to do all over across the country. It's not that easy. We all have families and take care of other things that we do, especially during this COVID time. So I'm still continue, and we need to do what we have to do.
Amen. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dale.
Mike, excuse me, if I may add to
For
what
sure.
you said, listen, ton of respect, Ndale. What you do is just tremendous. It's not just songs that you're playing. I've been on your show many times. We've done live by Maringa, English. And then what you do was Brother Jeff.
Thank you.
It's
Brother.
just an outstanding job. And the amount of hate that you receive, I know how that goes. But you educate people, and I appreciate you. But also, I'm not sure if you're able to talk about it. You were a victim of discrimination the other day while we were in Vegas. So it's absolutely up to you if you want to just touch base or not. Just let us know what happened, and I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think this has just happened to everyone, but this is a little bit different. Um, uh, I don't want to get going more deeper because I'm still like to communicate with the state attorney in Las Vegas and others to make sure I may have some legal remedy that will be taking place. To I don't know to I don't want to say the name of the person, including the company that involved. But just to make it like for those who doesn't know what's going on, I mean, I was trying to, uh, to attend the protest so I can cover. I just went to park my car, and so because I was at the family, I have a family, but I was in the visit, so I kind of came a little bit late. So I parked my car, and then by the time I'm trying to meet the protest area, but everybody went to marching, so I wanted to meet the folks, the protesters in certain area. So I wanted to take a local taxi, but that taxi driver happened to be heard me actually heard me my conversation because I have someone and the speaker when what the location was. So he was just mumble all kind of hateful words in Amharic. I didn't even say anything to him yet, but that was very racial motivated. Of course, this is in America, and you cannot use those kind of languages while you are working, and especially in the sort of professional company. So, but I will elaborate in the future after we continue to because if they do it to me, they will do it to other Tagaru. So we will pursue them in a way that will not jeopardize, and at the same time, we're not going to undermine our credibility. At the same time, I never experienced before. I mean, I've been to a lot of American events and what have you. Uh, this is just, of course, those hateful people. They can just hate us for what we do. So I'm not that surprised, but I'm not going to let it go slide for just for what happened. So I'm going to continue, but after that, and then I will expose some of the legal remedy, and of course, from uh, my community and to our Tagaro community, uh, the awesome Las Vegas Tagaro community reach out to me. Those who heard, I got a lot of phone calls today, yesterday. So, like I said, I'm reaching out to the local uh, uh, state attorney that handles the civil rights, and then some allegations based on what you have been discriminated. So I don't want them to undermine us. We took
So,
our
so basically, what happened, to clarify though, is like I think what Danny's point is that you were going to a Tagara event. They knew, the driver knew that you were from your original ethnicity is Tigrayan, and he discriminated you based on your ethnicity because he is an Amhara taxi driver, and you
Yep.
were a Tigrayan, like going into Tigray event, which was a Ashenda, and simply because the speaker phone that you were speaking with, they were describing to you where the Shenda was, and when he discovered that you're Tigray, next thing you know is he started discriminating against you, and then there's legal ramification going on. We're not going to discuss what company it was, but the short version of it is that there
Yeah.
is a
And
racist Amhara taxi drivers out there that
it,
also happened to Danny and I a while ago in the
DC. DC.
same, huh?
Was it in Washington, D.C.? Yeah.
Yeah, same spot in Vegas. He,
Vegas.
he
That's
dropped
right.
us off at the pickup drop off location in the protest that the night before.
yeah.
Same
Yeah.
And
thing. It was me, you, Tafesta, the three of us. Same
yeah.
deal.
Time he bashed on me. He started calling names, and he calls in, and he pretty much trying to humiliate me in front of the drivers, which is that's not acceptable. That's like a civil right issue. And then so we'll go after uh to him and also others. But according to the company that they say they did suspended him, and they're under investigation, but at the same time they're gonna get more information. They may possibly also rid of him, but I did not expose, or I did not give him all the uh, evidence as I speak to you, because of course lawyers and others will be involved, and then after we finish all the remedy, we'll do that. But at the same time, we should not take this lightly. I'm like I said, uh, it's not that, but these people can just they can't do they do back home to our loved ones, and they just, as you know, they just shoot, they just kill them on the cliff, and they kick them like they're not, nothing. It's not like they're not human. Here they trying to do the same thing that their family doing horrible things to our family, and they're trying to do it here in America where it's peaceful. So we're not gonna let them go like that easy. So I'm gonna continue to do so. But if it happened to me, like you said, it happened to you guys before. So we don't want this to happen to another innocent Tagaros. So they have to learn the lesson. And like I said, I would definitely bring out the whole scenario after we finish, because it happens, this past weekend when we were in Las Vegas. So, but I would do like to appreciate a lot of our community, because even the company that involved, we're so kind of overwhelmed with the phone call they get. So they were really surprised. So they have to rid of him. They suspended him even before they even talked to me yet. So that shows you how our Tagaro community are. We are tight, and we look out after our brothers and sisters. But at the same time, we need to teach those people who hate us. They cannot do this in America.
And for us to, when that kind of event happen, make sure we get as much information as possible, like the driver's information, such as the vehicle's identification, which is a tag. Most taxi drivers, they have a phone number on the side of the cab. So when you get out, snap a photo of the license plate, snap a photo of the side of the vehicle, and don't take an altercation with them. I do want to address one thing real quick before I have some questions for Danny, because I want to know what he's got behind him. But before I get there, we got either a brother or a sister that is somewhat concerned. Wayane Yingas, I think is the name. So the comment that I've been reading is that there's a concern. I feel you, my brother or my sister, because I don't know if you female or male. I get your concern, but let me say this to you. By all means, I am not here to divide my Tagaro, because I love you the same way I love every one of my Tagaro. When I go protest, they are the ones that get me going. So what I've started tonight is not going to change. I was born TPLF. I will die as a TPLF. I will not, however, sugarcoat or allow when TPLF is wrong play cover up. I live in America. I grew up in America, but I also understand my TPLF origin. I know about my Tigray people, my Tagaru, everywhere. So speaking the truth will never make us like Shabia, like Isaias Afwerki. You know the mistake Eritreans made? They were saying, Guziyo Ekwena, just the same way you're telling us right now. Every time they want to bring a concern, they perceive Isaias Afwerki like God. They did not think he was a man, an evil man. They were not even thinking, could he turn into dictator? Could Eritrea go on the wrong path? Do you know when Eritreans become independent? They were so excited to have the Red Sea and Asab or whatever you want to call it. And little did they know, to utilize that to make wealth out of it, they have to make good deed out of it by being friend with us, with Ethiopia, because Tigray remained part of Ethiopia. Then what happened? Isaias Afwerki, he had too many people clapping. Like some of our Tagad, when we go out protesting, we have a few individuals. They just get hyper when people say, good job, Jigna, Jigna. No, you know what? We all are Jagani, all of us. We are all diplomats. We, Tagadu, from young to old, we are equally working for Tigray. It doesn't matter how active Danny is or Mike is or Ndala is. We contribute to Tigray at every level that we've been out fighting for Tigray. So I think I want to clarify that we will not go the path Eritrea went, because we will not allow that to happen. Because the leadership in Tigray is separate from the TDF leadership. Okay? The military is not TPLF. It's TDF. TDF is inclusive. TPLF is a party. Currently, TPLF is a government elected by 2.7 million people in Tigray for 5 years. In 5 years, if another party is able to come to the market and compete against TPLF and convince the people of Tigray and is elected, then we cheer on them, we welcome them. But TDF cannot be hijacked by any new or current political party. That includes TPLF. So, Wayane, directly to you. The issue with TPLF in the past is they never separated between government of TPLF and military as a TPLF. So you cannot mix apple and orange together, like as Americans would say. It also, there's a saying, trust in God, lock your car. So we can't just keep saying, oh, it's not the right time. Oh, we should not be criticizing. Oh, we should not be questioning. You bet I'm going to question everything that I see. That doesn't seem right. And now the question that I have for you, my brother Danny, my twin brother, I know you like to run, but what in the world behind you?
Let me record this conversation.
Well, listen, you're a runner yourself, so I run pretty much. I started doing 5Ks, then went up to 10Ks, half marathons, and then I've done some full marathons, 27 to be exact. So no, this is just a little bit of some medals that I gained throughout the last few years. So I would love to run with you one of these days on one of these races, and then Dala can join us as well. And then we'll have huh?
My wall is available.
Yeah, but it was jokes aside, those are the medals from my runs for the last few years.
27 marathons?
27 full marathons, sir.
Wait, how do I remember that? I thought it was 26, but I just guessed.
Hey, so some people might mix it 27 years. No, but it's 27. So hopefully.
And that's how old you are too, right?
Exactly.
Hey.
So I've only done one this year, full marathon. but hopefully
You're a beast.
more to add. But jokes aside, just wanted to remind everyone about September 8th. We're having a huge protest in Houston. DC is having one. Los Angeles, as far as I know.
We have in Denver.
So please, Denver is having one as well. So please go to the cities that you live or to the protest that is near to you. However, if you don't have a protest near you, please come to Houston. We would love to have you join us. Mike and I are going for sure, and hopefully Ndala can join us too.
That's right. So
Yep.
we'll be in Houston, September 8th. We'll be organizing one of the biggest protests. And the reason we emphasize Houston, by the way, with all due respect to all the cities across America, that we love you all. But Houston, number one, we have not done at a bigger scale protest there. And Turkey has the biggest economic infrastructure in Texas, including, is it Exxon?
Shell.
Shell, thank you. Shell, which is the gas company. So the protest we're going to do is we're going to start at the Turkish consulate. Then we're going to do a caravan briefly to downtown, park, go to the U.S. Capitol. Then from the Capitol, we're going to march to the gas station or to the gas place called Shell. I believe it's about 4 or 5 blocks within. We'll march back to where we start at the federal courthouse. We're trying to have as many of you as possible to come out. We'll continue to talk about it. At the beginning, I was harsh. I was ranting a lot. I think we covered quite a bit of things tonight. But we know that many of our brothers and sisters in Sudan are continuously suffering. The international community has failed. And let me remind you also, the other thing we have not talked, the African Union, the most failed entity.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, for 9 months, they had no concern when Tigray was under attack. Now Abiy Ahmed tells them that, hey, I want mediation because he wants to survive and buy time to bring more drones to destroy Tigray. So this is why I'm saying we could not hide anything from now on. We have to continue to speak up. We will not allow a few within us control how our destiny is determined for Tigray. Until I see the Republic of Tigray, I will continue to volunteer my time. I'll continue to fight for Tigray. And if that means someday we have to go to Tigray and to fight, be it. Mm-hmm. That's not just like empty talk. But Tigray is to become independent. For those of you who are confused, who are saying let's not be politically correct right now, I'm not trying to be politically correct. Many Tagaru who worked so hard for so many years that were rich, one day they woke up, they couldn't even access their bank account. They equally became poor. So what's wealth to you? Your peace of mind. As Tagaru, we have a 10-year plan for Tigray, how we're going to rebuild Tigray from the diaspora and from our brothers and sisters on the ground. We're going to build the most independent and strongest entity in Tigray military, Tigray army, TDF, however we want to call it. TDF, Tigray army, must and will be independent from any political party in Tigray, period. There's no excuse. We will separate the military from any leadership within Tigray. The leadership in Tigray will come and go. Tigray will never come and go. The military will continue. It's the same process in the United States of America. There is no reason that we could not stall the same thing in Tigray, that you have an independent court, an independent military, an independent media, and have leadership. Our leaderships are amazing. They fought hard. They didn't give up like Samora and others who sold their soul and gave up on Tagaru and on Tigray. So the folks in Tigray today, the Tigray leadership, the civilian government of Tigray is no longer fighting on the battlefield, but is back in the office in Mekelle, they are the heroes that we have to respect and love for the rest of their lives. But there also must be an honest discussion that when a leadership is failed to protect, we have to find out why. We have to work together. So for those of you who might be confused how I started off this, I'm talking about unity. I'm talking about open discussion. Danny often one-on-one corrects me when he sees me I'm wrong, and I appreciate that. We sometimes have like a really serious discussions. I mean, literally, like to a point where like, oh, if you see us, you think we're gonna get, we're gonna fight each other. No, that's what you do to your brother. That's what you do to your sister. When you care about them, you tell them everything to make sure that, because when somebody loves you, when somebody cares about you, they're gonna correct you. They're gonna walk they're gonna walk side by side with you. They're not gonna do what Samora and the rest of the banda did to Tigray, and that's what we want to avoid in the future, because we will not allow Tigray to become like Eritrea. Tigray will prosper in the next 10 years. We will rebuild Tigray unlike before. I'm going to let you guys do a closing statement and we'll end this segment.
Dale, please go ahead.
All right. Thanks so much, Michael. I know you got your point across. I think this is a very constructive criticism, but I hope the general public and our Tagalog community will give the inputs, but the ultimate decision will be on the ground in Tigray. So I think we just need to respect that in terms of the whole collective decision. And since we are in a diaspora, all we can do is support and encourage and be part. And then I think there is a few agenda events coming up. I think we should build. I know there's one on September 5th here in Denver, the same park that you were here before. So we have an agenda. And then I'm traveling to Atlanta. Last time I did not go to Atlanta, so I'm heading to Atlanta. They have an agenda on September 11th, which is on the day. And I know DC have also, but I'm heading to agenda and also for a community event in Atlanta, Georgia. Hopefully, I'll meet you guys in Houston for the 8th. If so, if it's did not work, we'll all stay into our neighborhood, because September 8th is the same to all the states and over across the country. With the last note,
we lost your screen, buddy. You got to fix your screen.
Oh, thank you. Hold on. I think
Nope.
my phone is up. But having said that, and I would like to say thank you, Michael, for having me, and
Absolutely.
do our diligence work, what we do to our community. Hopefully, I'm doing a follow up regarding what the notion, or what is the reaction of the United States, or if they know any information, what the Turkish government, which is a NATO member, that involves where an American government put a sanction to some of the leadership in Ethiopia, including Eritrea. So hopefully, right now the United States kind of busy with their own pulling out their military out of from Afghanistan. But I'd like to do a follow up, and then I'll be sharing that with you and others. What the State Department is going to say. I did put out my questions, but I'm going to do it again. Last Friday, they were not in the process because of due to Afghanistan issue, so they were not available. But hopefully, when it comes up, and I would like to see, because as you know, Turkish is a NATO member. I know. I remember. I heard when I heard this the first time I spoke to Daniel with the phone. We need to do a protest. So I think this is the right time, but at the same time, I'd like to know what the reaction of the United States and what they're going to say. Have they shared this?
Well, just Ndali, to make this story shorter, U.S. already 27 U.S. government officials already announced for Turkey to stop the sale of the software for Turkey drones. So the U.S. is fully aware of it. So we know that.
But I'm talking about, have they shared with them anything that the agreement between Turkish and Ethiopia? I'm talking about the actual.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let's summarize that real quick, and so we
So
give Danny a chance.
I will say thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in Houston.
Sounds good, Danny.
So listen, Mike, you mentioned earlier about Abiy Ahmed, delusional Abiy Ahmed, going to African countries and begging to help him, make peace with the TDF right now. Also, this delusional so-called prime minister is going to Turkey and at the same time trying to buy drones to destroy our people. So you're exposed. Your game is over. So is Isaias Afwerki. But listen, Mike, I appreciate you having us. Ndale, good to see you. Thank you. Tigray, sir.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Ndale. We appreciate you guys. And to all of you who are out there who put out your comments, I tried to read as many of them as I could and posted some of them, obviously. So I respect and love your opinions, even if I don't agree with them. So much love to my Tagaro people, first and foremost. And the rest of you come here and try and tell us, like, what about the 27 years? You know what? 27 years, we taught you how to clean up yourself. We taught you how to use the bathroom instead of urinating outside in public in Addis Ababa. We taught you how to switch from using a tree to brush your teeth into a real toothbrush. That's what we got you in the last 27 years. And you turn around, you bit the hand that fed you. So you have no room to talk about 27 years because 27 years of wealth is being destroyed in 9 months. Ethiopia is in the hole for over $1 billion and continue. This is a video again I recorded in Las Vegas, Ashenda. More Ashenda to come. And I want you guys to hear this and we'll close the segment.
There you go, Ndale.
There you go, Ndale. There you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's Marek with Koboro.
Yeah.
I think we do this next year.
There's Sakasa.
There you are, Danny, with the camera right there.
I saw it. Yeah.
Next time we need to show. Yeah.